But it seemed that I wasn't needed, after all. I cannot take this anymore. You have been truly too rude to our beloved Rimuru-sama, said Shuna, stepping in front of me. Her aura couldn't be ignored. She walked towards Guy without a word. Shuna looked more pissed than me. I looked around and saw Benimaru frozen with one step out. He was too late, and now that our eyes met, it was awkward. I understood that. I felt the same way. I communicated this thought to Benimaru with my eyes. We truly shared a bond. Just how much are you looking down on us here, Demon Lord Rimuru? To hide behind such a weak woman, have you no shame? Guy laughed at me in front of Shuna's face. There was no use saying this to me. Since Shuna wanted to go, I didn't want to take away her chance to show herself. Benimaru was displeased but held back. So, I could only do the same. Silence. Trash like you doesn't require Rimuru-sama or Ani-sama to handle. I alone should be sufficient. Don't you regret saying something like that now? I wouldn't show mercy even to women and children. Guy unsheathed his sword as he finished. As expected from a holy sword, it looked awesome. Seeing that weapon, Shuna's smile intensified. Her unique skill analyzer must have seen through Guy's true abilities. Then I didn't need to worry anymore. Sai had already been waiting for orders for a while. He would handle any other problem. I decided to focus on cheering for Shuna. And so, under the eyes of the many authority figures within the council, the two groups confronted each other. Well, just a second ago, one of the two groups was quite confident and menacing. Yet the confrontation ended almost instantly. First off, the duel between Hinata and Reiner was like a wrestle between an elephant and an ant. Hinata was in her formal outfit in order to attend the conference. Her outfit seemed to restrict her movement somewhat, but she still approached Reiner in an extremely agile manner. Reiner, on the other hand, was unable to even react at all. That was kind of expected, to be honest. Even though Hinata had no intention of fighting him seriously, she was still stronger than third-rate demon lords. She made her way right in front of Reiner before grabbing his arm and shoulder and throwing him away. Shuna did not hold back, either. Just as Guy had announced, he swung at Shuna without mercy. Yet Shuna did not even flinch before she used her fan to make one smooth slash. That slash alone shattered Guy's sword. What the f? As he made this almost comical response, Shuna took the chance to follow up. What a piece of trash. I'm not going to kill you that easily. Didn't you just go on about yourself being rank A? Isn't it about time to show me what you've got? Are you giving up already after breaking your sword? Shuna taunted as she pointed her fan at Guy. Damn it. How dare a mere monster look down on me? Guy shouted angrily. No matter how you looked at it, Shuna was playing with him. The difference in strength was obvious. But for him to think he still had a chance to win, I couldn't help but wonder just how delusional he could be. By the way, so Shuna is good at martial arts as well. Yeah, Hakuya taught her jujitsu. The Meiko princess sure was talented. Speaking of Hakuya's jujitsu, it was like the ancient martial arts used for combat. It was a dangerous style that contained many lethal techniques. It was definitely beyond the ordinary arts of self-defense. To have taught the princess such a dangerous martial art, I finally got more insight to the aggressive nature of the ogre clan. Shuna continued her attack. Guy pulled out his backup sword, yet Shuna, teasing her opponent, tripped Guy over his feet. The weight of his armor completely obliterated Guy's attack. He desperately tried to get to his feet with no success. Shuna glared coldly at Guy on the ground. Her petite mouth began to chant spells. I pray to thy god, grant me thy holy power, lend me thy ears to hear my wishes. Her words, in the form of prayer, went beyond time and space to be channeled to me. Although I was standing next to her, it didn't matter at this point. What the hell is going on? Guy was shocked as layers of magic circles began to close around him. Wait, this magic is. So Guy knew. I guess he really was above rank A. But even if you knew, there was no way he could deal with this. At this point off casting, he couldn't possibly escape. He had no choice but to tough it out or try to defend himself. Although, I doubted he would be able to do either. After all, this spell. Please stop. All things in life shall come to an end. Disintegration was the strongest spell in all holy magic. A stream of light devoured Guy, and there was nothing left, or so it seemed. Whoa, it looked like Shuna had killed the guy, or so I thought. She didn't, however. Goo. The light faded, leaving behind a half-naked Guy. He probably lost all the strength in his legs, and couldn't stand up as he collapsed on the ground, exhausted. His intelligence seemed to have devolved to that of an infant, as he started bawling with tears and snot all over his face. But he lived. Congress. Looks like my technique was not masterful enough. The spell didn't seem to work. I see that spells that I'm still practicing really are quite useless. Shuna grinned as she said all that nonsense. I almost couldn't hold back my tease of seriously. After all, to use disintegration so precisely as to only destroy the armor, it only could have only been done with absolutely perfect execution. Even better, it hadn't even been a few days since I asked Shuna to study holy magic with the dolmen. Yet somehow, she had already mastered the most difficult spell. It seemed like she really was talented in magic. Her unique skill analyzer must have played a vital role in assisting her study. Anyway, that aside, with Shuna easily taking care of Guy, it was just Hinata now. Yet the result of her fight went without saying. Sir Reiner. What's the hold up now? Shut that arrogant woman up right now. You also have to defeat the Demon Lord as well. Now it's not the time to slack around. Gavin and Elric did not understand what was going on as they shouted at Reiner. Yet, Reiner didn't move at all. In fact, he was frozen. His ego deflated as Hinata stared him down. Having been sent flying away just before, Reiner must have realized the immense difference between his and Hinata's strength. You are not approaching me. Instead of coming to me, you are just gonna stand there. I'm coming to you then. Hinata took one step forward. Hi. While making what was perhaps the most embarrassing sound in the world, Reiner covered his head up with his hands and squatted down on the ground. A liquid leaked out of his crotch, steaming slightly. Oi, so he ended up pissing himself. He wasn't just a clown, but the entire circus. Reiner don't know. Well, what is happening? You are supposed to be the strongest, even stronger than Hinata the saint. Delusional people sure were scary. After all, they could give out such a cruel order so casually. Reiner began to cry like a child as tears and drool went down his face. He did not move an inch from his fetal position. He was done for. It'd be pretty silly to keep worrying about him. Anyway, that was one less problem for us. After the victor had been decided, I stood up from my seat on the first floor and glanced around at the counselors. The person who stood out was Elric, who was standing in the front and behaving most bizarrely. The members of the Apostles of Vert stood beside him, but they probably had no intention of antagonizing me. They casually began to distance themselves, indicating they had no tie to Elric. Then, Elric, are you your highness the prince? Why exactly did you plan to trouble me like this? Do you wish to continue? No. You guys over there as well, it's quite obvious that your nations acknowledge this whole charade as well, right? Should you all not be considered as accomplices? I asked, smiling. No, it's because. Please hold on a second, Rimuru don't know, your majesty. Please allow me to say something. They, however, looked pale and kept their heads down. A few of them tried their hardest to find excuses, but I ignored them. Because of Sally, they were unable to move from their current positions. Having been locked in motion, the counselors who were against me could only beg for mercy. There was no need for me to deal with them anymore. They wouldn't be able to do any more harm. And so, I was sure that I had got the upper hand. To the others, I was like a combo shoujo pressuring a bunch of middle-aged men. It was a rare sight, a hilarious one as well. How could any of these cheap shots ever manage to suppress a demon lord? They had no common sense, or should I say that they were too retarded to understand the reality of the situation. Which was why they failed. With that being said, their plan was a bit too rough around the edges. Were they seriously thinking about beating and controlling me? Perhaps it was just like what Hinata said, their goal was to provoke me to use force. Now then, how would you compensate me? Wait, hold on. Most of the counselors were under mental interference. Someone had stimulated the counselor's desire. If that had continued, Elric's proposal would probably have passed. That wouldn't have been good for us. Regardless of what was going on, it was not easy to reverse what had been approved by the council. It was thanks to Raphael's hand that it devolved to the charade just now. In other words, someone held hostile intent towards me. Report. Killing intent detected, directed towards the individual Elric. I sensed that with my magic perception as well. Somewhere 2 kilometers away from here, someone was directing killing intent towards the conference. It was so far away, what could they be planning? I immediately executed thought acceleration and confirmed the situation. Magic perception showed a wild-looking red-haired woman. She was holding a small black iron block, a pistol. Why was she using a pistol when she was so far away? What was the effective range of that gun? Answer. Official name for the weapon is Walther P99, small in size but extremely competent. Light in weight, high in proficiency. Its effective range is 60 meters. Right, knowing this information wouldn't help much either. Even if it were extremely proficient, when its effective range was 60 meters, it wouldn't matter. Right now, the building we were in was located in the central area of the Kingdom of Ingratia, and it was a special alert zone. The walls of the surrounding area had been processed with magic-resisting enchantments. It was extremely firm and couldn't be pierced by any weaker attacks. Moreover, the bullet that would be shot would still obey the laws of physics, being affected by gravity and air resistance. You could strengthen it with magic or skills, but you might as well have just prepared a sniper rifle. On top of that, even if you were using a sniper rifle, there was no use if you couldn't see the target. The woman could not see Elric directly from that position. Even if she had my magic perception and locked onto a target, sniping was impossible as there were many walls in its direct path. That wasn't even adding on the fact that with the recent assassination of Duke Muse, the conference building was well guarded. I was also cautious and had made preparations beforehand. I confirmed that it would be difficult to snipe from an area that far away from the conference. That was why her action would be meaningless, logically speaking. Could it be that she could deflect bullets and change their path? Just as that thought crossed my mind, the red-haired woman pulled the trigger. In a moment's delay, as if in a frame-by-frame animation, I watched the bullet leaving the chamber at an incredible speed, before suddenly being sucked into a black hole that appeared out of nowhere. To my shock, the bullet disappeared without a trace. Report. It's a form of spatial movement called spatial connection. Spatial connection apparently was a skill that could connect two recognized points. The distance between the 2 points couldn't be too far away, and the area of effect was very narrow, so it didn't need much effort to perform. But right now, I had no time to listen to explanations like that. The red-haired woman was comprehending the space through magic perception. The next second, the bullet re-emerged next to Elric. She launched the skill at the location with precision. As a result, she completely ignored the 2 kilometers in between us, as well as the outer walls. The assassination plan was about to succeed. A small black hole appeared around 50 centimeters away from Elric's head. And from it flew the lethal bullet traveling at over 400 meters per second. It was just as powerful as if it were shot nearby. There was no obstacle in its path, and the bullet was closing in on Elric. Slowly, but surely. I could see it traveling. Yet in this situation, there was nothing I could do. I didn't have time to warn him, and even if I were to take action, I wouldn't be fast enough to stop the bullet. There is no problem. Activate ultimate skill gluttonous King Beelzebub. Yes, no. Will it seriously make it? That was just my own doubt, but I still listened to Raphael San's proposal. And the next moment, whoa, incredible. Ignoring space-time, the bullet lay in my hand, motionless. Are you okay? Hinata's expression changed drastically as she ran up to check on Elric. The captain of the Apostles of Verd also looked shocked and gave me an inconspicuous glance. She didn't say anything and turned to check if Elric was fine as well. Elric was baffled, having been asked all these questions when he had no idea what had happened. Only a few people realized what just transpired. However, it seemed that the magic just now triggered the alert system, as the building began to echo with an alarm. Because of this incident, the conference was cut short.